Here we go. Okay, we're going to call this meeting of the Community Housing Committee of Yarmouth to order, and I see we have a quorum, so I declare this meeting open. Here is the thing I'm required to read before the meeting. This meeting is being held in a hybrid model, both in person and in the hearing room of Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, and remotely via the virtual computer platform Zoom. Committee members may participate in person or through remote participation pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16, 2021, and extended on March 31st, 2025. The information to access this meeting via Zoom was published on the agenda with the town clerk and on the town's website with a minimum of 48-hour notice to the public. The public is welcome to attend in person or remotely. This meeting is being recorded. Okay. Welcome, Greg Wheeler, newly raised to the level of associate member of this committee. First order of business is to approve minutes of previous meetings that had been in abeyance for a while, as we like to say, and they've been included in our packet, several previous minutes. And what is the oldest one of those minutes?
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I would recommend that you ask for a motion to add the minutes of January 8th, 2024, and February 12th, 2024 to the agenda by roll call vote for review and approval.
Okay. Could you state those dates again so we don't get them wrong?
January 8th, 2024, and February 12th, 2024.
Okay. I ask for a motion to add the minutes of January 8th of this year and February 12th of this year to the agenda. Sir, somebody make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Here's a roll call vote. Here's your first vote, Greg. Greg Wheeler? Aye. Myra Sahanich?
Aye.
Drew Kraus, aye.
Lee Hamilton, aye.
Joshua Trett?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passed. So those are added to the agenda. And what do we got here? So we have, are there any, let's take the minutes of January 1st, January 8th, 2024. Have you had a chance to look at those minutes, folks?
I was not present, so I would have to abstain.
Okay. Does anyone have any changes they want to suggest for those minutes?
I looked them over and had no notes.
Okay. No one else?
This is really minor, but
Okay.
it's on page 2, the second paragraph, a couple of times soldier on actually says solder on, so.
Oh, is a misspelling there?
Solder on, yeah.
Okay. So Mary will make sure that that is corrected. And that may be the only comment we have on the minutes of January 8th. So if that's the case, someone can move that we accept the minutes of January 8th with the change of that typo just mentioned.
I move to accept the minutes for January 8th with changes as noted.
Okay?
Second it.
Seconded by Greg. Okay. Do we have to do a roll call? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passed unanimously.
I abstained because I wasn't there, so.
Right. So the voting member, were all voting members, and Lee did not vote on this particular issue. Okay. Now we have the minutes of 2/12/24. Is there any discussion about those particular minutes? Giving you a chance to say anything, Myra, because you're very good at picking out mistakes that are in these things,
No, I mean,
and it's worth doing, for sure.
I don't see anything. I'm speed reading because I read them a while ago, but,
Okay,
no, looks good to me.
thank you. Good. Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes of 2/12/24 as written?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that was passed with everyone voting, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that brings us to the minutes of last month's meeting, which was on March 11, 24. And take a couple of minutes to see if you have any comments about them.
I believe I attended this meeting via Zoom, and it has me listed as member absent,
Okay,
but I might be wrong.
This is the
March 11.
11?
okay. You can fix that.
Okay. We're still in process on March 11. Doesn't make for exciting television, but we're doing well here.
You don't want exciting television.
No, we don't.
I move we approve the minutes of March 11th as presented.
Okay?
Amended. I have to amend it.
Yeah, it's amended to show that Joshua
Okay.
was
As
here via
amended.
Zoom.
Actually, I just double-checked my calendar. That was not the one I joined via Zoom. I was not here that day. So as presented.
Scratch that.
Presented.
Okay, we're going to reset this, and Myra, go ahead and say that again for the record.
I move that we vote to approve the minutes of March 11th as presented.
Okay?
I second.
Okay, it's got very enthusiastic seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, that has passed. And I think that concludes our approval of minutes, right? We're up to date now. So we're done with Part A, and we're on to Part B, which is membership. And what's the latest news on membership?
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Yeah,
So,
Greg is now has official status,
yeah, Palm has
Palm has
been
official
appointed as a
status.
full member.
full member, okay,
Greg Wheeler and Mackenzie Perry are associate members.
good, that's
So
great,
We're in good shape.
very good. And the people that didn't make it today, you were aware that they
Yep.
couldn't make it, so that's good too, yeah,
Mostly travel plans.
it's good too, yeah,
I mean, I'm watching to see if Mackenzie pops on
okay,
via Zoom. Because remember, she works in an office.
that's right,
Until
yeah,
4:30, so something might have come up.
right. Okay, now, old business, is there anything to be said on the Soldier On Veteran Housing Tour?
All right, so I've got, I'm doing the email now. Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
that's what's to be said, huh?
yeah, that's what's to be said. So should we ask to come up and visit them the third full week in May?
Okay, that, I can't do it then, myself, yeah.
How about the fourth full week in May?
I'm going to be away for about 2 to 3 weeks between, say, May 16th through the first week in June. When's our meeting scheduled for June, by the way? Is it the second Monday or the first? I forget now.
Looks like that would be the 13th, the second Monday of May.
I should be back for that.
Okay, so, right, so I have that we are meeting on May 13th.
Right. I'll be there for the meeting,
Okay, and then you're traveling on the.
and I'll be leaving a few days after that. I'm not quite sure which exact day, but within a few days after that.
I mean, is that Monday? I mean, could we go up and visit it on Monday, the 13th? Would you want us?
I could,
Okay.
yeah.
Make that work.
All right. So why don't I see if they're available, Monday morning, May
Okay.
13th.
All right.
Or you said May 15th?
13.
May 15th might be too late for Drew.
Oh, sorry, the 13th, okay.
Which is the Monday.
I'd prefer that myself, but, yeah, the 15th would be tough, yeah. Also because I have another, yeah. I'm probably going to leave on the 16th, but I have a big age-friendly meetings on the 15th. And
Okay, done.
okay. So the next thing on the agenda under new business is the listening session for the Mass Housing Partnership. That's going to be in a couple of days at noon, 2 days from now. And I did go ahead and register for that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So I'll be there. You'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there, probably.
Okay, good.
Let me see, what time is that?
I think.
Noon?
It's on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I could do that.
I have a medical appointment at 2. How long is it expected to last?
So what they usually do is they have like an hour of speeches. I mean, a half an hour of speeches. And
Half
then they
hour.
open it up to groups that have statements. And then they don't always get to
Conversation, yeah.
comments. So I was thinking that I could let them know that members of the Community Housing Committee are going to be there. And I put out the word to other kind of like staff people here to see if they have any comments they want us to make on their behalf.
Okay.
But I think that I think the way to get heard at these listening sessions is to say, we're the town's community housing committee, and these are our comments. Do you know what I mean?
Right, they have a way of submitting
Yeah.
written comments, yeah.
Because I've waited at these listening sessions, for an hour and a half, and then they close them. And I go, wait a minute, I'm the town of Yarmouth's professional staff person on this, and you didn't give me time to speak. And they had gone through group by group by group by group, and they had planned. So I think if I tell them we have a prepared statement, they'll hear us. I think that it's important, whatever you say.
Mary, as someone who's new to this committee, what's their agenda?
So Mass Housing Partnership is, so Mass Housing does a lot of financing for housing, right? They're kind of like they're quasi-state, quasi-private. They're the bank. They're the state's bank for affordable housing. And they do like the Mortgage One. They make mortgages directly to people. They fund some, innovative programs. Mass Housing Partnership is more of a technical assistance. They have money too. I think they take care of the Affordable Housing Trust at the state level. I'm not too sure, but they have money too. And the person that's helping the Housing Authority with the development on Forest Road is Laura Schufelt, and she works for Mass Housing Partnership.
Oh, okay.
So they're very pivotal, like, you can get technical assistance
They
grants
help,
from them.
like they prepare requests for proposals
Oh, great, okay.
and present it, like in this case, to the Housing Authority, who will then either, working with the authority to craft the proposal, and then the authority approves it, but
Now, they get public money, so they must have that cycle
Right.
of doing reaching out, getting public comment from people, writing their action plan and sending that to their board for approval.
Right, and they got money to do the due diligence engineering reports and other types of technical work that needs to be done, yeah.
I'll register after the meeting's over. I'll
Okay.
be there.
And do you want to like work out like a couple of sentences? Because here's what they're asking for. They're gathering information, right, to understand Yarmouth's housing landscape, any gaps in technical assistance, how to continue working together to increase equitable access to affordable housing and safe housing in the community. So is there some major barrier that we're having to producing affordable housing? Our need, we can say, mostly our need is affordable rental, but we still think we need home ownership.
Okay, so I get hung up on things like this, this is just about me. I get hung up on, well, what would we say specifically to this specific agency, and I get stuck on that, But the way you're going is just like present them with our basic situation.
Basic situation is that we're in dire need of affordable rental housing, but we still have a need for starter homes, right? That's one of our goals set by the HPP.
Okay.
Right? And that's important for them to know because they'll take that back and say, oh, the Cape still needs affordable rental housing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
That's important.
Okay,
for
see,
them.
that's exactly where I get hung up. What's the exact thing we want to say to them, And I go, I don't know. What do you think, Myra?
Do they make a presentation first,
They usually do.
and we're supposed to comment on the presentation, or we're supposed to bring our agenda
I think
to
they
their
talk
attention?
about who they are, what they've accomplished the last year, what kind of like their plans are, and like what staff people are there, and what services they offer. So you can see if I'm right or not when I describe
Yeah,
it, right?
but that doesn't totally go with the title of this, which is listening session, see? So that, I'm not sure. What do you think?
And then they open it up, but like a lot of structured hearings like this, they take comments from organizations and bodies first, and then individuals.
You think this might be different than what you're expecting? You're pretty sure it's going to follow that same,
I think it's going to have a 90-minute cutoff.
okay?
You know what I mean? And so the first half an hour is going to be them telling, and they do a nice job. It's not like they don't do a good job.
That's not listening.
They describe, right. They describe who they are, what they do, and then they open it up. But I found that, I still sat there raising my hand, like, what are you guys doing? Oh, the time is up. And I was like, but it's also, they are in our community, so it is good for them to hear us.
Yeah.
Like another thing we can say is that we're sewering Route 28, so we anticipate housing development on Route 28. Because they're the group that if there's an aggressive Chapter 40B, you can get a technical grant from them to help you understand that Chapter 40B application.
Do you know if the Community Preservation Committee is also going to be involved in this?
I left it up to their staff people if they wanted to ask their board members.
Okay,
I don't think it really made it that far.
okay.
What do you think should be happening with what's the connection?
You know how
Well, they bring the CPA into the housing, they're kind of the housing part of the CPA, the technical assistance and stuff like that. Let me see, what do we got here? Basically, you know that our trust, obviously you know this, our Affordable Housing Trust is funded by the CPA. And so there's a certain relationship between the CPC, the Affordable Housing Trust, and this group. So I just wondered if they had a different perspective on the housing part of their mission. What if what kind of applications have they had over the years other than the trust for housing?
Oh, so the Community Preservation Committee, the majority of funds from CPC have been allocated towards community housing. So they funded a habitat development.
Okay.
We basically like to buy the land, acquire the land, because then you're done, right? You don't have to deal
yeah,
with
exactly.
construction, right? You're done. They've funded the 2 motel redevelopments on Route 28. I'm trying to think what they've done directly. They fund the Hetch Home Rehabilitation Program. It's called the Hetch Help. So low, moderate income homeowners can get emergency repairs to their homes. And then these are things directly they've done, not through the
Right,
trust.
right.
And they've also done a rental assistance program. It's an eviction prevention program through Hands of Hope. And then as the Affordable Housing Trust kind of developed its own programs, now people tend to go to the trust for the
Okay.
funds, rather than go directly to the CPC.
And I don't think the trust really discussed this at our last meeting. So I'm just, trying to figure out who else would have a comment or a suggestion for the housing partnership from the town besides this group.
And we
yeah.
had just, the Affordable Housing Trust met on Monday,
Right.
and this notice came out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we meet once a month. What we could say is that we could tell them that we spend the majority of our CPC money on affordable housing.
I think that would be significant,
Yeah.
especially since the Cape has a really strong history in
Community
environmental.
Preservation Committee money?
Yeah, the majority of community preservation money has gone to affordable housing. We haven't had any big awards lately, but right when we started, boom, 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 boom. It's like
Well, recently it's been going for historic preservation in
open space.
open space.
They
Not
might-
so much,
Yeah, they're catching up, but the last I checked, it was 45% of all funds
Yeah.
went to,
over the years, but because not since I've been on the committee.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. But I'll get the exact numbers, and it's going to be before town meeting, so, yeah.
Yeah.
We have, but the one thing that we really, we're facing is that we have no land, right? We have no vacant land. So we're looking at redevelopment as the,
I think that's really important.
Do we have a document on their meeting? Because I couldn't find anything.
no,
Okay.
no, I don't. The other thing we can say is, they were working, there was some proposed legislation regarding redevelopment and gray fields,
Yeah?
right? So we should encourage them to provide the legislature with technical support on how to produce affordable units through redevelopment.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'd love for that to be our main point, actually, because,
Right. Say that again, will you? Just,
So that we think that Mass Housing Partnership, because they tend to be like, big thinkers, right?
Big thinkers,
So,
okay.
provide technical support, to the legislature and towns and municipalities on how to produce affordable housing through redevelopment. And maybe, start a program with some money for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's what, the kind of thing I was hung up on. What specifically do we have? And that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
So you're putting together a written statement to send to them before the meeting from this
Well, I
committee?
want to let them know that the housing committee is going to make a comment, so that they'll carve out some time for us.
In other words, you're hoping that this statement we will read or say
Yeah,
on the Zoom meeting. It
Yeah.
just won't be submitted.
Oh, it won't be submitted in advance?
We could, right?
we could.
Yeah, why not?
Yep, we could.
Just tell me what your vision of this statement is, so I get it straight. Like,
The Community Housing Committee of the Town of Yarmouth met on April 22nd, and they just,
no, here's what I want to know. Would one of us say it during the Zoom meeting? I would say it.
the chair will be present and will read
That's what you're
it.
hoping for. I didn't get that until now.
I mean, I
see.
can do it.
No, I'd be happy to say it. I'm just getting this figured out. I don't always get what you're saying.
Step. I gotta get you excited about going to the meeting and
I'm going to the meeting.
going to the meeting. We've got some good
You're
comments.
gonna compose this
Yeah.
statement, and if I'm there, which I plan to be, maybe there'll be a space for me to
Yeah.
read it out.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'll let them
That's your
know
idea.
ahead of time.
Okay. I just thought it was going to be something submitted, into the great maw of,
Really great to say it out loud when
Right.
everybody else on the Cape and
Yes.
the South Coast is there.
right, okay.
I think we also should ask for them to continue the technical support for towns to review Chapter 40Bs. I have a feeling that's going to be important as we go forward.
They used to come to the Cape and do open meetings years ago.
So explain that to me. They used to come to the
Come
Cape?
and, invite a lot of people, and they would have an open, a meeting.
Like a live listening session in person? Is that the
I think
idea?
it was
Used to
before
get
we were all doing
lunch.
Zoom. Yeah, it was a big.
So this is a hangover from the COVID days, right? Things have migrated onto Zoom and never gone back to live.
We'll never get another sandwich from MHP.
So,
Sad thing.
That's a very sad thing.
It's kind of dumb, because it's better the other way.
We can comment that. Next year, we can host them. We can host them if they want.
Commenting on. I don't think that's dumb at all.
You should add it to the comments.
I think we will offer to host the
That's a good
listening
idea.
session next
Yeah.
year.
We don't have to stay on addicted to Zoom forever. It's a choice, right?
Seemed to be with a lot of meetings.
so we were going to do a short-term rental study in the town, and then we got some news about the cost, potential cost.
Okay.
Is this something that a housing partnership might be interested in helping us with?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, kind of like, so anyways, the several people in the town, like are on boards and committees, are concerned about the true impact of short-term rentals, right? So we wanted to study them,
So it's,
amplify their benefit, mitigate their impact, right? Because they do generate some revenue that we use for wastewater and stuff like that. And so we got a quote for a study on that, and it was like as much as, as a new affordable unit. So we put the brakes on that, but it could be something that maybe they could pay for region-wide. The people down here are really concerned about it.
What would be the advantages of short-term rental other than for summer employers? Or,
They generate, first of all, they bring people they bring tourists into our community, and tourism is our number one piece of our economy, right? The other thing is they're taxed. So they generate revenue, and anything that goes over, the minimum that we take for wastewater goes to our general fund. So they actually do some good. They also allow some people to keep their property. So some people inherited property, and it might be their second home, or it might be someplace that they leave for the summer months, and they rent them out at a high value, and it allows them to pay their property taxes and keep the property in their family, portfolio, whatever.
It's an old tradition. It's funny, it's like a matter of balance, I guess. Like
Yeah.
when things get out of whack in the whole system, then it becomes a worry. But the principle of that has been around for a long time in a place like this, right?
Some people on the Cape, they would, house share during the summer and
Yeah.
rent out
Of course,
one of the houses
yeah.
for the tourists, and that would give them enough money to pay their property taxes, keep both properties year-round, that kind of stuff. So,
As I mentioned Friday in our working meeting, the market right now is oversaturated with short-term rentals. People are having a tough time getting their houses rented. So that's not to say that they won't get them rented, but so,
it's April.
yeah.
It's April,
Right.
so if there's vacancies.
In a good year, everything's done by now. It's all already rented up, so. But there's just there's so many out there, and I don't think demand is what it used to be with the current economic things we're dealing with right now.
So I think if you guys are fine with these comments, I'll type them up for Drew to review, and we'll be able to present them professionally.
Any chance we could get a draft copy tomorrow evening to look over, make any notes?
That's a good idea, right.
Yeah. Just, yeah. And if you have any other ideas, we can bring them forward. And we'll
Okay.
see how it goes.
So now we're going to go to the next item on our agenda, which is we're going to discuss the status of 811 Route 28 in South Yarmouth.
So, the town of Yarmouth has this review process. It's called site plan review. And sometimes it's mandatory for a proposal, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes people just use it to kind of gather all the department heads into the room for review of a project. So the people that go to the site plan review is planning, building, health, water, the fire department, sometimes the police department comes. So it's all people that you have to get checked off. If it's wetlands, conservation goes, you have to get checkoffs and approval for your building permit. So it's kind of like a pre-approval, get your feedback about your building project. So 811 Main Street is right next to Captain Gladcliffe, which is 817 Route 28. It's pretty narrow. The space between Captain Gladcliffe and this white building is pretty narrow.
Yeah, that's Annie's Book Stop, it used to be, right?
So
Bookstore.
there's two, so this white building is staying, and this is the Captain Gladcliffe, okay. And it's pretty narrow, and what it is that they share, they have two driveways, two entranceways. And this is the white building, and that's Captain Gladcliffe. And there's two entranceways, so what they want to do is they want to take these, here's one curb cut. I can't tell where the other curb cut is. But it's just like a dirt road. You'd never know it was in there. And there's like a building in the back, and they just kind of like have encroached on each other's property. So now they're gonna develop this lot. They're gonna have one entranceway, which they're gonna share with the white building. And the white building is a commercial building right now, but it's going to be converted to a single family home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When you say white building, do you mean this
Yeah,
building?
that building right
I think
there.
that's vacant right now, yeah.
It's vacant, and if you drive by, yes, and they've cleared it.
Yeah.
They've cleared the land around it.
Okay,
Used to be called Annie's Book Stop. Does that
Okay.
ring a bell with you at all?
sort of.
There's kind of
There's
a-
a sign on, and I'm just looking at Google Maps, and it says Cape Annie's something.
Cape Annie's. Used to be a used bookstore for a long
Yeah.
time.
Oh, I hate this
And,
thing.
you know, I don't want you to go on the property, but if you drive by it, it looks like it needs a little TLC.
It's been closed for quite a while, yeah.
So now it's not owned in common ownership, right? So it's two different property owners, but they've come up with a deal to close, you know, one of the two curb cuts on Route 28 to define a nice entranceway. That turnaround up front is for the fire department. Fire trucks always go nose in, but they can't back out onto Route 28.
So that has to be left empty at all times, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then at the end of the turnaround, they want to put a bike ramp, a bike rack.
Proposed bicycle rack.
Yeah. And then they would have 8 units, and that's what they look like. That's the elevation.
That would be one affordable unit, right?
Yep. And then if you look, the proposed front, north-facing unit, that's the piece that's going to be seen from Route 28.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bottom,
Yeah.
bottom right.
And so, you know, I know that when it goes through a little bit more review, people will probably ask for a little farmer's porch over that, you know, a little bit more of a architectural element over that door. And that might be a faux door, I don't know. I don't know, there's pervious pavers or, but this whole area in between Route 28 and the building is going to be landscaped. It's going to have a lot of landscaping. The dumpster's going to be way in the back. We're not sure if it can stay there. It's only 8 parking spots, so they talked about maybe extending the parking in front of the building so there'd be 10 parking spots.
Be less nice.
But they're all 1 bedrooms, which is what we need. The first floor is a kitchen and a living room. The middle piece, that kind of is like a little dip, this little piece, that's the laundry and the sprinkler room, because this will have to be sprinkled. But yeah, they're cute little units. I mean, they're not. Yeah, the bedroom is upstairs. It's 1.5 bathrooms. I did say that if for any reason they had to change one of the units, you know, for whatever reason.
It wouldn't be handicapped accessible
That's
if
what
the
I was gonna
bedroom
say.
was
That's what I
upstairs.
asked.
At least one of
was-
them should have a first floor bedroom as a handicap unit.
Gotta be that, yeah.
That was one of the, I was
can
like,
do
can
that,
you make
right?
one just a studio?
Yes,
A
they can.
handicap accessible studio.
And they even have that middle part marked as their accessible ramp, so
Accessible to what?
just
Yeah, I
the
see
laundry
that,
room
I see that,
apparently.
yeah.
So this is something, let's see, when was this done? Doesn't even have a date on it. Oh, well, dated March 1st, 2024. But I'll pass along that comment. Is there any other just general comments at this point?
I like the staggered design. It gives it a bit more interesting character instead of one big long flat wall. Overall, I think 8 1-bedrooms can be a really useful addition.
So we have bath on the first floor and a full bath on the second floor. How many square feet does it say?
I thought they were over 700, but I could
Well, if it's 16 by 16, no, it isn't. It's less than that.
By
32 by 16 on the first floor. Yeah, they got to come out somewhere around 800 square feet total.
Really?
I thought they were, right, I think our minimum is like 750, and they said they met that.
Yeah, it looks close to that.
Yep.
That puts the first floor at 512. Of the second floor is a little more than half of that space.
This is a stairway?
Yeah. So then we're putting it at around 800 square feet per unit.
That's
So if you
right.
had one studio to make it handicapped accessible, then it's even going to be smaller. It's going to be 5-something?
That would be about 512.
Yeah, that would serve somebody well.
Good.
I think they can't, mess around with the footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
it's a
of the
narrow
width,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that is interesting. You have the accessible ramp, but
That's to the laundry area. Yeah, I think pushing to make one of those two units next to the laundry / sprinkler room into a handicap accessible studio would be a good push.
What's your idea? Change 2 of them into a?
One of those two
One of those two.
on either side of the laundry room.
And maybe that, I don't, they've got a good design team. They definitely do. I don't know if that, that second floor could be used for another unit to have a 2-bedroom unit. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
That would be the way to do it, wouldn't it? That sounds.
That's what I was thinking.
That sounds like possible, yeah.
They might even be able to make both of those on either side of the laundry room studios, and then each unit on the sides of those now become 2 bedrooms.
That's a
Seems a better idea.
Yeah.
But then 2 bedrooms, you should offer more than one parking space.
That's true.
So we talked about how they would, have to have really good property management if they really only had one space per unit. And that they would have to be very clear that cars could not park in the turnaround, the emergency
Right.
vehicle turnaround.
That's a thing that will be
So
tested at times.
I'm sure.
So there won't be any management on site for the small number of units.
No.
Who's the developer? I see the architect, but who's proposing this development? ESC Group, is that?
VFC is the engineer, Eric Tolley is the architect, but it doesn't have the owner's name.
There's a good point about parking if you're going to make some 2
So it's
bedrooms.
prepared
Yeah.
for Christina Megason of South Dartmouth, Mass. So she must own it or have a principal interest in it. So it's kind of preliminary. I let them know that, our one unit is going to be affordable, be rental. The town will do the lottery for them for a fee. And then, as time goes on, I'll let them know to get it on the inventory, right? It has to be blessed by this committee.
Okay.
And these are all rentals.
Is there storage in the attic?
I don't think so.
Is there storage anyplace on site?
No,
they have
there's,
a
so the reason why the white building is not a raise and replace is because it's in the floodplain. So they don't want to have full basements.
And those are balconies above the doors, correct?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
I believe they're overhangs. If you look at the side views,
Standing?
Yeah, that's what, yeah, I think you're right. No, excellent, okay. I was just concerned if there were balconies, that they'd be used as storage and, yeah.
Right. So, you know how I rescheduled the meeting? Sorry, guys. They were gonna be able to come to that first meeting date in April, but they were traveling today, so.
So here's, at what stage in the game would what you called our blessing be needed?
So what I encouraged the applicants to do is come here first,
Okay,
right?
right.
And get the comments of this committee.
Okay.
And
A
hopefully.
la what we were just commenting on, yeah.
And hopefully, they'd have to address your comments, and if they addressed all your comments or tweaked the plan appropriately, you could give them a letter of recommendation, which they can then go and use with the other
Okay, I
review
understand,
committees.
yep.
The other review committees, if it goes to them first, right? They might say, oh, has the Community Housing Committee commented on this. So typically what would happen is they'd get batted back.
So are we,
My office, and I'd be like, scramble for the meeting. So I usually try to get them to come here first.
are you going to shoot for next month's meeting for these people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
So
so
are you,
I'll send in the comments and invite them to the May 13th.
at this point, they don't release what they would be charging for rent for these units?
No. No, this is, I thought that they have a really good design team, right? But there was still a lot of things up in the air.
So what'd you say, Josh, about 750 square feet is what you
yeah,
thought?
750 to 800 looks to be about what it is, just based on their floor plans.
And I have a form that, it's kind of like all the information that they need to give to the state, I give them a form to fill out before they come here, so they can start thinking. And one of the things that we ask is, how much are you going to ask for rent for the market rate units? It is exciting, though. I mean, that's a lot of the type of housing that we really need, so.
Okay, shall we move on to the next address?
Yep, and this is via the Village Center Overlay District
Right.
bylaw, which allows bonus density for making it, rehabilitating a property and making it look really nice. So
Well, that's where the density
that's where the
allowance
density comes from, and that's where the landscaping comes from, right? Okay, so the next one is under roads, the roads bylaw, which again has road, R-O-A-D.
Okay, I don't know
That
what
was
that
our
is.
that was the precursor to like the motel bylaw, the Village Center Overlay District bylaw, and there was a lot of properties that just weren't getting special permits to redevelop. It's
So now we're talking about 228,
228, sorry.
and this is under a thing called that you call the roads bylaw.
It's road, it's not, it doesn't have,
Road.
it's road bylaw.
Yeah, I didn't know about
And,
that one.
Yeah, it hasn't been used that often. It was kind of like our first attempt for, to have architectural and site design standards for redevelopment with like some bonus density and.
I see.
In exchange. So anyways, this has to go through the planning board and then the zoning board of appeals, if I have that correct. So this is the
It's a picture.
visual that
It's a picture.
far. That's far. So this is iteration number 3. The first one looked like a metal building. The second one was a little better. So I'm sure that once design review, gets to it, there'll be even more.
And how many units are they talking about here?
So this is 13 units. What it is on the first floor, it's a store.
Pub shop.
So this is a top of the shop sort of
Yeah.
build? Okay.
And on the second floor, there's 13 units. And there's 3 two-bedroom and 10 one-bedroom.
Ooh-wee.
You said 3 2-bedrooms and 10 ones?
10 ones, yep. And on the floor plan, if you get to the floor plan, it has a little, these again, they have a good team, they have a good design team, but not everything that you need on these plans are on the plans at this time. So
Does this mean 3 affordable apartments out of 13, or what?
I think we get 3. I'll have to check.
Because it's like the closest to 25% you can get,
Well,
right?
with our inclusionary zoning, it's a sliding scale.
Okay. I had the idea it was 25%,
So it's like
and that would be
for every 5,
approximately-
you give us 1.
Okay,
So it's like
20%.
once you hit 5, you have to give us 1.
okay.
But then that gets you up to that same 6, 7, 8, you know what I mean? Like it,
Oh, it's a little more complicated than what I thought.
because everybody was fighting about percentages, do you round up and round down? So we just put a chart in there.
Okay, yeah, I was in the rounding up and down phase in my
Well,
brain.
for 25%, the 8 units would have 2 affordable, and it only has 1.
Yeah, I know, right. You're right. Yeah.
Right?
So I thought it was 3, but I'll have to double check.
20% should have been in my mind to begin with.
And it's interesting because this one has storage units and it has some storage space in the hallway. 1, 2.
Well, this is still only 2 stories, that's good.
But
And,
again, are there any handicapped units? You're going to be on top of the shop, so there would be upstairs.
elevator?
No,
Elevator.
no elevator, I don't think so. Just stairs. So we would, in talking to them, we're kind of like, the nicer it looks, right? The better it is for you and the community because it'll,
They have the hearings and the.
their market
abutters.
rate units, if they make it look really nice, they'll get a little bit more for their market rate units. So they know they have to, they have to give us an affordable housing component, and then I offered again to do the lottery for them. Now, their store downstairs is, I was kind of struck by, this was kind of an odd layout for a store, but what they are is the cash and carry over in Hyannis, by Hyannis Airport. They do bulk paper products. They sometimes do bulk food. So it's in between retail and wholesale.
Okay.
It's kind of, cash and carry is kind of like where, if your church group does a soup fundraiser, a couple of soup fundraisers for the year, they go and they buy like the huge package of bowls and spoons and stuff like that.
What used to be near Staples,
Yeah.
that building, Staples is closed, you could go in there and buy.
Oh, yeah,
Massive
the
kitchen,
restaurant wholesale, yeah.
Yeah.
And the site, the reason why the building is kind of towards Route 28 is the site has wetlands in the back. So that's kind of, normally we would say, okay, push this back a little bit, but they can't because then they lose their parking. So
How close to Route 28 will it be?
it's not super close, but what it is they need to use that space in the front for drainage and a rain garden.
It looks like they're listing 32 feet from the sidewalk,
So it's kind
with
of
that
like,
rain garden in the middle of that space.
So rain gardens are not kind of like the design we're looking for right along Route 28, because they are a dip. They're a vegetated swale. You can make them look nice, but a lot of them, I don't think we're used to them yet, right? It's like, how come it's not flat with just some nice landscaping? It's like a dip. And you're supposed to plant the plants that absorb nutrients, the nitrogen and the phosphorus from our water. But then those plants aren't like positioned to look nice. Do you know what I mean? They have a different function. I like them. I love rain gardens. I think they're beautiful.
They're functional, not pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So we're either,
you do think they're pretty, right?
I think they're
So this
great.
is a
I
matter
love
of
'em.
opinion. It's not like-
I love them.
Yeah.
But,
I might too, yeah.
but see, if normally you would have a little bit more structured landscaping in front of your rain garden, because that's what we want people to see on Route 28.
Don't they attract trash? Like, trash gets stuck in there and
They might, because.
Wind gets blowing, they kinda
You're
get-
trying to
yeah,
get the water to go in there and sit in there and be slow enough to drain down so that the roots absorb all the nitrogen. So it's supposed to, it's low impact development. It's,
The idea,
Yeah.
yeah. That's interesting.
I just looked up rain garden, and there's some really pretty ones.
there's some pretty ones. Not everybody is a fan.
Yeah.
That was one of the comments that came up was,
Yeah, but, yeah.
are either one of these developments going to be in the area where the storage is going in?
yep, so they've been told, this is the nice thing about site plan review, is the water management, our water management engineer was there. So she said, make sure you plumb it now, so that when the sewer pipe goes through, all you have to do is turn it off.
Valve.
Turn the valve. And she's the engineer who actually tells you where the pipe is gonna be, right? So they're giving her input where they want the pipe to be, and it's her decision. So it's great to have her in the room.
We're off to a good start on
Yeah.
marrying this up with the
I don't
whole thing.
think this site is gonna wait for the sewer pipe because it has a functioning septic system on there that they're just gonna use. Do you know what I mean? The other site, I could see that waiting. I could, but you never know.
So do we know how large these units are? I don't see anything.
We should be able to figure it out here.
So when it talks about, in this first map, it shows truck turnaround and staging areas, so people are basically living in a development with industrial trucks coming in and out of the property.
Yep, I don't know. It's not to scale. I mean, the whole second floor is 9,705 square feet. And you can see there's a whole area for storage, so they thought about that.
So a quick estimate based on some of the measurements puts the one bedrooms around 600 square feet. If all these numbers are right.
So it's possible that it's below the official minimum limit we have set in our, we're not sure. Close.
So sometimes when that happens, you can say, well, okay, your affordable units, we want you to take off 10% of the rent. You know what I mean? And like you can use that to kind of negotiate down the affordable rent.
Well, instead of having separate storage, why don't they just build more space for storage within the units? I'm not understanding the map so well as to where the storage is. Oh, yeah, I see that.
Maybe it's more efficient this way.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe I
there-
prefer it that way. If I have an apartment, I prefer to have it in this configuration than
Well, these are the storage, and there are three that are, two in each, two or four, two in each end of these storage things that are pretty small.
Yeah, you never know, like, maybe the person that paid for the design lived in a building with something like that and thought it worked out good. I don't know, we'll have to ask them.
And it looks
So
like there's
you-
one laundry room.
Yeah, that probably will be fine.
Yeah.
Because there's not, there's only two bedrooms, or three two-bedrooms, do you know what I mean?
Right.
You need more laundry rooms when there's like three-bedroom units,
Yeah,
because there's kids.
So what will happen next with this? In the normal
I'll
course
invite
of
them,
events?
I'll invite them May 13th as well.
All right.
And I'll give them the form that has all the information they have to compile for the state.
Yeah, getting some actual dimensions on those units would be nice.
Yep. So that'll be one order of business.
They have plenty of parking,
Yeah, that,
you know.
Well, they'd have to figure out how to separate the residential and the business parking so
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, I'm sorry, they did address that,
okay.
but I didn't write it down. And from their store that they've had in the area, they said that, yes, people come in and get stuff, but they don't have constant traffic. Do you know what I mean? They didn't find that they were happy with the number of parking spots they had. They thought that they could keep the residential parking separate from the commercial, that they weren't going to have to share it during the day. But that's a good point.
so of their 31 spaces, they're planning for 20 of them to be residential unit parking and 11 of them to be business parking.
How many for residential?
20. So
20, okay.
13 units, 3 two-bedrooms, 20 parking spots for
Approximately
residential
one and a
is
half, right.
1.5 per is what they're looking at. So that's plenty of residential parking.
That's on sheet C3 over in the chart to the left.
Yep.
Thank you, Josh.
Are we going to move on now?
Yes.
Reports and actions. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Housing Production Working Group and Education and Outreach Working
Okay,
Group.
so we met on Friday. It was Drew, Greg, and myself. Greg brought up current events that the town of Milton had rejected a bylaw that is required by the state on their Housing Choice Act, that a MBTA community has to provide for an area in their town near the MBTA station or public transportation station that's multifamily. And so I guess, Greg, I don't know if you want to,
I just
Go
thought
into
it was
more
interesting
detail.
that of all the towns that were affected by this, Milton was the only one that rejected it, and now the state is suing them. So this is probably going to be ongoing for a while. And my guess is if Milton wins this, some of the other towns may try and back out of their plans. It's not a good thing for affordable housing. So.
yep, and I did notice Chapa put out an alert there are three, I don't know if it's representatives, I think there's state representatives that put amendments on the budget this year that would weaken that MBTA requirement.
Right.
Yeah, so.
And that does kind of have, I understand Milton's not on the Cape, but I believe it does affect Bourne, because Bourne, don't they have not a commuter rail, but isn't there a park and drive into the city? So it does kind of,
Somehow or another, Bourne was named an MBTA community. So I think they passed their zoning though
Right.
for it. Yeah. And it's almost like, and then also if you're next to an MBTA community, or you're next to a community that has an MBTA stop, you are an MBTA community too, like,
I mean, I
how
understand.
many MBTA communities there are.
The hitch with Milton is that I don't think they actually have a stop. The train just happens to travel through a little corner of Milton.
I see.
Yeah.
Which puts them in the affordable housing situation. So that's where their pushback is coming from. But Drew, as we talked on Friday, people will find any kind of reason to push back.
Yeah, maybe they have a case because of that, yeah.
Yeah, I did see an article about that.
There's 177 MBTA communities in
Out of
Massachusetts, so it's about 50%.
352 towns in the state.
Well,
And then we talked about what Greg brought up before, that for the area that summer rental demand is down.
could you remind me, Greg, where you got that? I wanted to,
So I
Interests me,
got
yeah.
that was in the Boston Globe.
right, I forgot.
It was on the Boston Globe 2 weeks ago, April 14th.
April 14th?
Right.
I'm going to
And
look
then
that up.
there's also a social media platform called Nextdoor, which is kind of like Facebook, but it is by each town. And I saw a bunch of things in the last couple of weeks where people are complaining that they've got their house on the market and no one's renting it, and I'm sure they're asking for, astronomical amount of money but yeah, it's kind of been popping up and left and right. So, like I said, I think the market's just oversaturated and demand is down, so.
Then we talked a little bit about Provincetown's program, which is lease to locals, which is an up to $20,000 subsidy for property owners to rent their properties year-round to locals instead of short-term rentals. So that's,
And what are they offering the owners?
it's
Up to $20,000 a year. It's in Provincetown. It started on April 1st. I was hoping Mackenzie would be here to kind of give us some feedback. I'd heard about it, and then I heard something on the radio that they were getting a lot of landlords who were coming forward to at least find out, how much money can I get, and then is it worth it? Should I just rent it for the summer? And what are the trade-offs? So, but there was a lot of people that had come forward that we were interested. So, maybe we could maybe next meeting Mackenzie will be here and she can give us some more information.
I know Housing Assistance Corporation has a similar program called Rent 365, where they're offering cash payments and things like that to landlords to convert from short-term rentals to year-round leases. So there's some other programs out there as well that are doing similar things.
It seems that they would have to offer them a big subsidy.
I think that's the problem. I think the amount of money being offered isn't quite enticing landlords who can get thousands of dollars a week during the summer.
I think there was something too in the commission, the county commission's big report that a landlord could get in 3 months 90% of what it would
Right, yeah.
was in the whole year to
That's
get
right.
rent. Yeah. So
And they don't have the headaches of tenants.
that's a big difference.
Yeah, summer rentals can give you a headache though, too.
In 2 months. 2 months equals 12 months, yeah. 2 months of short-term rental income equals 12 months of year-round rental was the ratio.
This Sunday's Globe had and the housing section had an article about adding units to the houses for family or relatives or kids who come back home. And they're talking about people who own very, very expensive property.
Yeah, multi-generational, yeah, yeah.
Multi-generational, yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
And then-
it tends to be
and then
expensive,
if
though,
they-
you're right, yeah.
Huh?
Tends to be expensive.
Yeah, but these are properties that are already very expensive. In one unit, I think the father moved out because he missed his buddies down in Florida. And so they rented it out for $5,000 a month
Oh, jeez.
with first loss and security, so that was $20,000 up front.
just to
eventually
walk in the
have to
door,
pay.
yeah.
Could you imagine that?
And then I updated everybody on the habitat development at 1121 Route 28. And so they're thinking that they're going to pursue the permits for that development. So it's a Chapter 40B, it's a friendly 40B, that again would come to this committee to be looked at. The trust provided the funds for Habitat to buy that property. And they're, starting to add more and more detail on their engineering plan. So they're going to have 5 to 6 units. And then they're hoping to hold the lottery, like 2025. Because it takes a while to build these. It's not, because the people who win the lottery have to build the house too. So, and volunteers help. So that will be a big thing.
Well, I can't say enough about what a nice job Habitat does.
Oh, yeah.
And they're building all the new units, I believe, are energy efficient.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of those units. They do a great job making sure they're very energy efficient.
That takes care of our working group reports, I think, or not?
Yeah, just the other thing about outreach and education was that it was important to involve young people. We talked about how at some of our public meetings, it's what turns the tide and the
Oh,
mood
yeah.
in the room.
Right.
Is that there was a young person that came forward and testified about,
Their needs, their
experiences,
dire
so.
needs. And they, like at the town meeting where the accessory apartment bylaw was passed, a young woman had a whole thing about, change is happening, whether you like it or not, which sounds kind of harsh as I say it here, but it was very effective the way
yeah.
she did it, and I think it was a positive thing.
Change is inevitable. It's
It's not only
nothing you can do
inevitable,
about
but
it.
it's ongoing.
Exactly.
The chair, is there anything from the,
Nope.
wouldn't be, Home Consortium? Any report?
Is there anybody that's, would be interested in being the alternate to the Home Consortium?
What is the home consortium?
Homes Consortium, so US HUD provides money to our region to create affordable housing. And it's the Home Consortium. It's actually capital H, capital O, capital M, capital E. It's an acronym that US HUD figured out, and it's
Something or
the
other.
home, right? So it's run out of the county. Renee Hammond is the staff person, and they convene every month at 9 o'clock. I think is it a Monday? I don't know. It's a Monday or a Thursday. But anyways, it has a representative from each of the towns on Cape Cod, and they review funding requests. And so home money went into Yarmouth Commons and Yarmouth Gardens. They usually give about, $150,000 per project. But it is an important piece in the financial package.
Piece.
Because it's not financing, it's a grant. Do you know what I mean? It's like cash. It's kind of like our Affordable Housing Trust Awards, like it's cash. It's not financing, it's like, so it helps build their portfolio to get the other financing.
I'd be interested in being an alternative for that. I'd need to know more about the exact meeting dates, but I'd definitely interested.
Very good.
And
Okay,
they Zoom, so, all right, I'll get that to you.
speaking of Zoom, awfully handy, isn't it? Zoom.
Yeah.
But I do regret some things we've lost.
Me too.
Yarmouth Housing Authority, of which I am the representative, is daily expecting a final RFP proposal to be presented to us from the Mass Housing Partnership. And when that is, hopefully that will be any day now, and we will hold a meeting and in all likelihood approve that, and that's the news from there. Affordable Housing Trust.
We're about to issue an RFP for an affordable rental housing buy-down program.
Housing by now.
We've had limited interest in the pre-development funds on Route 28, and limited access to our town's Community and Economic Development Committee. They've been very busy awarding their tourism funds. So, what else has the trust been up?
Who's been awarding tourist funds through?
We have a tourism preservation fund. It's a small percentage
Okay.
of, there's like this formula that if the town raises enough money for the general fund, the remaining funds, up to a certain amount, go into a tourism preservation fund. So that helps like the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Good.
It's supposed to help with marketing. I think Pawpalooza got some money. It's tourism, it's economic development,
Okay.
specifically for tourism. So it pays for the chamber's advertising of the town, you know, nationally, internationally, to try to get tourists here. So, but CEDC has a good, you know, we were talking about, you know, identifying priority gray fields on Route 28, and we figured that CEDC would be good at, have good input on that. So the trust, yeah, I think those are the big things right now for the trust.
Okay. The Planning Board,
No report.
Community Preservation Committee.
I serve in that committee. We haven't met. As a matter of fact, I wanted to connect with Dawn Marie because the town meeting is next Tuesday. And we are presenting recommendations for funding according for the Affordable Housing Trust. So I don't know if we're meeting next Monday or what, but,
You're working on it. You're trying to make sure it,
well, I'm supposed to be presenting, as a representative in this committee, the Affordable Housing Trust, but I need a cheat sheet.
Right.
And I understand.
And Bob Lawton, I give Bob Lawton all of the most current data from the trust. So
Okay.
he can, I think you might be moving, like you might make the motion.
I make the
and-
motion, I present and make the motion, and then somebody from the trust, if there are questions, they address it, not me so much.
Yeah, so Bob Lawton is
Okay.
going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand you have to be careful if you have to get up and talk where you're sitting there.
Yeah.
Because if you're moving to the aisle and you're sitting against the wall, you've got to climb over everybody. I haven't been there, I didn't go,
More microphones this time.
maybe.
Right. So you know they had a huge
I
issue.
was there, yeah.
Yeah.
I was there.
The
There
day
was only a
before,
couple of
the
microphones.
day before it worked, and then they.
The day of it did not, yep.
Right.
Right. So town meeting is the 30th. Okay.
Yeah, I'll call Dawn tomorrow.
I have no updates from.
Okay. So is there anything else to bring up
Of
at
community
this
development.
meeting right now, today, that we've neglected to?
So the Fridays, May 3rd and May 10th, I'm not available. So did you want to have working groups those Thursdays? Did you want to meet May 2nd or May 9th? And then our full meeting is May 13th. I'm kind of good with taking a break from the working groups. If
Okay.
you guys are.
You don't like me?
I know. I'm like,
It's you.
That's me.
Gee.
It's not you, Myra, it's him.
Me.
I think we should try to spend that time on going to see the site from Soldier On.
Okay,
That's what I'd rather do.
well,
May,
We
wait
can-
a second now. Are we making a plan to go to Soldier On Monday, May 13th?
13th, yeah.
Okay, that's our,
I just emailed
That's
them. Let's
in-
see if he emailed me back.
that's instead of our normal committee meeting.
No, we would go
No?
in the morning and have to come here and
Okay.
Meet at 3 o'clock.
Wow, what a day. We're practically heroes for doing all that, in my humble opinion. That's just me. Okay, and you're checking something on a calendar there, Mary?
No, I was checking because I sent him an
To
email.
see if he responded already.
Oh, here, automatic reply. He's out until the 25th, so we'll wait for him to come back.
Okay,
It's done.
we'll see how it goes.
Yep,
So are we saying there will be no working group meeting?
I'd love to not have a working group.
On May
meeting
2nd or the
Unless you
9th?
want somebody's present
Can
to
we
have it.
have a consensus to allow pause in the working group meetings?
I think so.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay. But we won't forget about him completely. We'll crank it up again.
yeah, yeah. The last one, it was great. And Greg's
Input
updates were
was good.
great. But that was the meat and the potato of the meeting was Greg's current events. And
Right.
I felt a little,
Well, I'll have plenty more for the
Okay.
next one,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
But the current events are good in a lot of different fora. I just wanted to say.
I think it's just good to know what's going on
yeah.
in other places in the state, you know what I mean?
Myra.
Yeah, no, I wasn't able to make that meeting, and
Right.
I'm wondering if we are still working on videos/newsletter.
That's what I feel like there needs to be some text written for the videos.
Okay.
So
And was it established what the video is going to be about?
I think we were going to do 3, maybe 4.
So there's a slight delay on the video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I never noticed that before, but there is a slight delay.
Watch out, you can get sucked into
So-
that like I do.
I know.
I'll start going, wow, this is cool.
So in the minutes of March 11th, right, on bottom of page 2,
Okay,
we wanted to do an introductory video on affordable housing, just kind of like, what is it? That always helps, right? We wanted to do one on the Ready Renter program, because I guess
Two.
there was some comments on some social media about, the Ready Renter program. We wanted to feature consumers of affordable housing, youth housing, and, showcase some of our upcoming programs and projects.
okay, so don't we have to form a little mini committee to,
Working group, I thought, that was,
Right, it's just I haven't had any time to
no,
do
you wouldn't.
this.
Okay, so there's one that's sort of introduction to affordable housing in Yarmouth, or in general, I hope.
Yep, right, like we should have like an introductory one about affordable housing, whether you say it's the need for it, or you have me talk about the AMI, which puts everybody to sleep, or, you know what I mean, like,
why would that put everybody?
What is the duration? How long do they have to be? For
oh, I think 3 minutes,
3
I think
minutes?
that sounds correct, yep,
yeah.
give or take a few seconds,
Yeah, well, I can try writing something up for the intro.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good start, just one specific thing.
You always have to have one person
Right.
that says, okay, I'm just going to try it, and
That's
then
it.
everybody else can
That's
jump in
right.
and, fix it.
That's really so true, and just to focus on that, the intro one, and see what we can come up with, yeah.
Who are we envisioning being the spokesperson? on these?
Mary and Drew,
Mary and Drew?
tag
What a
team?
what a team.
What about that?
fine.
Didn't
okay.
we talk about a younger person that might,
Well, right,
Mary
so
and
we
Drew's
wanted
daughter.
to,
Well,
All due respect.
well, this is our younger person right here.
I thought Mackenzie, didn't Mackenzie and Palm say that they were interested in doing it? Yeah.
interested in assisting with the videos.
Okay.
They were interested in working on the project.
Okay, so Mary,
They actually
Mackenzie.
commit to be our speakers, I don't know. But I think the first thing is to get the text.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, if I had a person in mind, I could,
But listen,
You're
serious, this
volunteering
is
other
in all
people,
serious, this is a serious comment, like you're saying, young, like one of those two younger individuals would be good, Palm or Mackenzie,
right,
to do it, because
Right.
they're younger. I agree with that, that's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
And because they're personable.
I wonder if
Very
Mackenzie
personable,
would be interested in doing the intro, because I could work with her since she's a professional
right.
and say, what do you know, like, should we have this, should we have this?
These are, yeah, so.
Okay.
We got to reach out to, you can reach out and see.
I'll just shoot her an email and
Yeah.
say, this is what we talked about briefly at the meeting, and are
Yeah.
you interested
I
in
like
working
that
on this?
idea.
Yep.
Okay.
Please don't tell her I volunteered her.
Nobody volunteered anybody. We're just exploring.
All these new people, they're so enthusiastic
We
for
had
others
some
to
ideas.
step up.
What do you think of this idea, Mackenzie?
Yeah, that would be nice to work with, you know,
Yeah.
somebody, and, you know, I know she's probably almost as busy as Mary, but still, you know, just to look at what I do,
Right.
and look, you could look at what I do, and, you know, kind of
Right.
back and forth. Emails.
And she, that's her job, right?
Yes,
Right.
yeah, that's why I was thinking of her.
Yep.
Okay,
Moving on.
and what else? I'm not sure we have anything else written on the agenda here, but maybe we're missing something we need to bring up. I'm not sure. Mary Wagon has nothing at the moment. Anybody else?
You know, I just had something that I thought was kind of interesting, since I'm on the email list now for Housing to Protect Cape Cod. They're actually having a workshop on, what's today?
22nd?
Okay, tomorrow. And it's called Impediments to Advocacy. It's kind of interesting because
Ah.
it's, the subtitle, I hope I can bring that up, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's literally called,
Doing that.
Well, they're one of the sponsors of it. Yeah.
yeah, he's a Barnstable town councilor who's been very active in various housing committees and so forth. And I really have to tell you this subtitle because it's so cool. But if I can't get it up, then I will. Okay. A conversation about bullying and imposter syndrome. So this
What's imposter syndrome?
imposter
I know what it
syndrome
is.
is when you're standing up trying to explain something or do something, and you, in the back of your mind, you're like, what am I doing? I know nothing, you know? But you
You're
have,
like an imposter, so you're very nervous and insecure.
but at between, and then bullying, how to react to social media
Yeah.
when you do something like this. I thought that was very interesting, because, you know, that's exactly what you have to put up with if you're a person that advocates
For anything, actually.
for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you could apply it to all sorts of things. But I thought that was very creative of them.
Do you think you're going to go? So the nice thing about their workshops, I think they're videoed.
I believe they are.
They do, I think
Yeah.
they do record them and have them up. Yeah, I
Then you
can't
can
do
go to
it
their site and just
live,
watch
but I
them.
could watch it, I think.
You can
Topic.
watch it live or watch it later
Let's
on.
see. They just had one on the 10th.
Protect Cape Cod.
I don't see whether it is or not, but I could probably figure it out.
There's another meeting back to back here.
There must be another meeting coming up in a minute, huh?
No, no. Hi, I'm Mary.
Oh, hi, Mary. Nice to
Hi.
see you, Sheila Palace.
Hi, Sheila.
Okay.
I think we're done with our meeting.
Yeah.
Is anyone willing to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.